Hi, Mr. Adams. I'm Jasmine.
And I'm Alexa.
And we are from a business consulting group of the Pittsburgh Regional Office of PricewaterhouseCoopers.
Today we're going to present to you a small video giving you advice and counseling regarding starting and developing a new business in the Pittsburgh area.
We will help you make the transition from a position at your large accounting firm into owning your own small business. So, Mr. Adams, the first step towards creating your small business is thinking about you. You are the one driving the boat of this new business, and you need to be a good and effective leader. The first step is thinking about the qualities that you need to bring out in yourself when starting this business. The first quality you need to bring out in yourself is cynicism. That really just means being realistic about your business. Realize the potential successes and failures that could be in your way. And do not romanticize things, because you need to realize that this is a real business and you need to think about reality. The next trait you need to bring out in yourself is insecurity. This really means being aware of the potential threats constantly throughout your business. You can never be complacent, and that will also help you think of new ideas and innovations for your business. The last quality you need to bring out in yourself is ruthlessness. That may sound like a negative quality, but it really just means showing your love and passion for your business. Never act on your emotions, and always think of rational thought before making any decisions. Always go for it and really just take risks whenever you can. The next steps towards starting your small business is asking yourself these 10 essential questions. These questions will essentially form your business plan. The first question you need to ask yourself is, who are my customers? Not everyone is going to be your customer, and you need to realize who are you actually marketing your product or service to. You should think of 10 groups of people who you know well and that you know you can market your product and service to. Second, you need to know, why will they let me do business with me? You need to appeal to people's passions and people's fears. These are the two biggest emotions that people make decisions about purchasing products and services by. Next, you need to think about what products directly appeal to their fears and passions. People take 15 seconds typically to decide if they will buy a product or a service. So you need to make sure you're catering to these emotions again to get them in quick and make that decision fast. Next, you need to think about, how will you reach your customers? This is essentially your marketing plan. We'll talk more about your marketing plan later, but you need to realize that your marketing plan is essentially how you're going to get your customers into your business. Next, who are your competitors? There are 4 different types of competitors, and you need to be cognizant of all of them. The first is your direct actual competitor. This is a competitor that is selling or doing the same service as you. For example, if you own a small pizza shop, that would be another local pizza shop. Second, direct potential competitors. These are competitors that can replace their products for yours and do the same thing. An example, if you own the pizza shop, would be another fast food restaurant who could potentially start selling pizza. Third, the indirect actual competitor. These are the big box competitors, such as a Pizza Hut if you own a pizza shop. Lastly, you need to think of your indirect potential competitors. These are competitors that you will not see coming and pretty much are hard to prepare for, but you need to at least be aware of them. Next, you need to ask yourself, what will be your competitive edge? This is especially important for a small business, because you need to set yourself apart from those big box companies that may have more resources or manpower than you. And this doesn't have to be a specific thing about your product or service. This could even be something as small as better personnel or a more quality product. Next, you need to think about, do you have a good team to make a successful business? Running a small business is never going to be a solo job. And you need to make sure you surround yourself with really strong professionals and other employees who can make your business a success. This can include delegating non-essential tasks to your workers and making sure you are in charge of all essential tasks. While non-essential tasks are equally as important, essential tasks are the crux of your business, and you need to make sure you're taking care of those things. You also need to make sure you have a good set of actual working professionals around you who can do things better than you probably can do yourself. That includes a good accountant, a good insurance agent, and a good mentor to help you guide decisions and things moving on with your business. Next, you need to talk about and think about how are you going to pay your employees. Like I said, building a team is very important, and you need to make sure you can compensate them correctly to make sure that they're just as on board with your plan as you are. Next, you need to think about where am I going to get the money for this business. Thinking about money, you need to remember that you will not be collecting revenue right away, and you need to make sure you're getting some kind of initial principal amount of money, whether that be from investors, your own money, family and friends. It's very important to think about that. And then eventually you need to realize or think about how are you going to generate revenue eventually, because that is how you're going to be able to continue paying for all the things you need to pay for and continue your business. Lastly, you need to think about what are the risks. This goes back to what we were talking about with having that insecure personality trait. You need to realize risks are always going to be around, and you need to do your best to protect yourself from them. This can include making your business an LLC or a corporation and knowing the differences between those. Also being aware that you never really want to get yourself involved in lawsuits, so that goes back to having a good lawyer, but also preparing your business to not be sued in any way, shape, or form, and just making sure that you are lowering the risks as much as possible.
Okay, Mr. Adams, next thing we're going to talk about is your marketing plan. This is how you're going to get your word out about your small business in Pittsburgh. First, you need to ask yourself 4 questions, and this will help you devise your marketing plan. First, you need to ask, who are my customers? You have different types of customers. There are naturally people that will gravitate towards your business and that you just mold with really easily, and these are the 10 groups of people that we had you identify earlier. There's also a type of customer that will probably never come to you or your business. These are people that you should not be wasting your time or energy on. You want the people that naturally gravitate towards you to be your main source of customers, and those are the people that you want to target in your marketing plan. Second thing you need to ask yourself is, why will people buy your product? Usually, as we said before, people buy things based on their passions and fears. So you need to figure out what types of fears and passions your natural customers have, and then appeal to those and directly target them. And that's the best way you're going to be able to market to your customers. The third thing you need to ask yourself is, what will your customers buy from you? Your products need to have direct and immediate appeal. As we mentioned before, people usually don't think more than 15 seconds before deciding to buy a product. So your product needs to appeal directly to your customers' passions and fears. Fourth question you need to ask yourself is, how are you going to get the word out to your customers? This is obviously the most important part of your marketing plan. How are you going to reach your people? Is it via social media, word of mouth, or other advertising methods? In conclusion, by asking yourself these 4 questions, you can come up with a successful marketing plan to reach your target customers and get the name of your company out there.
Next, we're going to be talking about competition. We're going to give you different tools to analyze your business, yourself, and your competitors to make sure you are making your business better than your competitors. First, we're going to conduct a SWOT analysis. That's SWOT. S stands for strengths, W stands for weaknesses, O stands for opportunities, and T stands for threats. These are all factors that need to be considered within yourself, your business, and your competitors to make sure you are always above them and on the cutting edge of everything. Next, you're going to be using a pestle analysis. This kind of talks more broadly about the environment that your business is in. P is the political impacts of your environment. E are the economic influences. S are social changes. T stands for technology-triggered changes. E are the environmental pressures. And L are the legal changes and restrictions like lawsuits, taxes, and liabilities. The next tool we're going to give you is similar to what we were talking about competitors before. It is essentially a matrix that lets you talk about your actual versus potential competitors and your direct versus indirect competitors. The next thing you need to consider is advantage. Like I said earlier, advantage does not have to mean that you are better in one specific area. It could just be something as simple as your location, your service that you're providing, who you are, and the people that are working with you providing quality personnel service. These tools will help you assess your business and your competitors with objectives, strategies, strengths, and weaknesses.
Next, we're going to talk about building your team. people that you need to take into consideration when you're thinking about people that you want to bring into your business. Firstly, partners. This is only important if you have too many critical tasks to fill. You need this person to be somebody that you trust with your business wholeheartedly. This is not just another employee. This is someone that you're splitting your business with. So if you do need a partner to take on some of the responsibilities, you want to make sure that it's somebody that you really feel comfortable with. Secondly, we have employees. Obviously, your building is not going to run itself, and it's not just going to be you. You need some people to take on the lower levels of responsibility within your business. So you have to define these job obligations very early on in your employees' training. This way they know exactly what they're responsible for within your business, and it'll keep everything moving very smoothly. Also, training is extremely important for employees because your business is only as strong as your weakest employee. The next person you need on your team is somebody to manage human resources. This is going to take care of the rest of the employees in your company, so you can get rid of some of those responsibilities off your own plate. Some of the responsibilities of human resources will be onboarding, managing health and safety within your company, and also compensation and making sure that your employees are getting paid fairly and accurately. And last of all, your team needs a board of advisors. These are people that you surround yourself with and your company with that'll make it more successful. Among these is an accountant to handle your finances, a lawyer to make sure that your risks are reduced and that your company is always in a good state, an insurance agent to make sure you cover all your bases, a mentor to look up to and to ask critical questions and advice from, and of course your spouse who's going to be with you through this whole journey and needs to support you 100%. If you have all of these people on your team, your small business is going to have success all the way. Next, we're going to talk about funding and financially planning for your small business. This is really important to take into consideration to make sure that you will reach break-even point at some point and start making money off this business, because that's what you want it to do. So, the first thing we need to think about are the costs that you're going to incur through this business. It's really easy to underestimate these or not even consider some of them, so it's important to plan for them early on so that later you're not losing money on things that you weren't planning for before. So, you need to list all the costs as you incur them and overestimate if you can. It's really easy to underestimate your costs, so when you're writing them down, overestimate them 20 to 25%. That way you'll be in a safe spot later if something does happen and you end up paying more for something than you thought you would be. You also need to do a cash flow analysis for both the best case and the worst case scenario in your business. This will cover all your bases and make sure you're safe just in case of emergency, and then if it does turn out to be better than you expected, you will have some extra revenue in the end. And the most important thing to do for pricing and assuming your revenue is to look at your competitors within your area. People selling and doing the same things as you, how much they're charging for their services and how much they're making total. This way you can have some sort of idea of when you will reach a break-even point and start making that cash flow that you came into this business for.
Next, we're going to be talking about risk. Unfortunately, risk is unavoidable, but it can be mitigated with certain steps. Similarly, lawsuits are unavoidable, which is one of your biggest risks for owning a small business. The first action you can take to avoiding getting sued is avoid crazy people and make yourself unattractive to being sued. Next, you can also form a corporation or an LLC. This will essentially put a wall between your business assets and your personal assets. Next, you should consider getting insurance. This will protect all of your business assets. Insurance can include commercial liability, errors and omissions, and product liability. All or one may be necessary, so it's really important to consider and talk to your insurance agent to make sure you're getting the best one for your business. And that's why your insurance agent is one of your critical team members that we talked about earlier. Lastly, you really need to make sure you're very, very descriptive with your disclaimer language on all of your contracts. Never guarantee any sort of results or guarantee anything that you cannot provide for your customers. In conclusion, you really can't avoid risk, but you can take steps to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to avoid them.
The last thing we're going to talk to you about today is making a trademarkable name for your business. This is a really important step to take in making your small business because this is something that's going to bring your customers in and that they're going to easily identify you with, and the way they're going to spread your name by word of mouth. So, some things that you want your name to be is memorable. You want it to be something that your customers will not forget. Second of all, you want it to be trademarkable. You want to pick a name that's not already being trademarked by another company, and even a name that's not even in use by another company, because it could be confusing to your customers when they try to find it online. You also need to find a name that you can get easy website access to, so that when your customers are Googling your name real quick, you're the first one to come up and you're easy to find. Some things that your name should not be is generic and merely geographic, or just your surname. These are things that you cannot get trademarked because they're too general. You also don't want your name to be amoral because it'll kind of turn some of your customers off. Also, you don't want it to be deceptive. You don't want to be naming your company something that you don't represent or stand for. You also can't name your company something very similar to another company, especially within your own competition, because this will become very confusing for your customers. So be sure to appropriately copyright, trademark, and name all products and logos that are associated with your company. This way you can't be getting mixed up or be caught in any lawsuits as far as that goes. And you also want to have your lawyer search very hard through trademarks to make sure that this name isn't trademarked through anyone else. Sometimes it's really confusing and hard to find these other companies that have names similar to yours, so going through a lawyer covers all your bases and make sure you're safe as far as keeping the name to yourself. You want to register your name at both the state and the federal level, so that way that the name is trademarked to you and nobody else can take it. With a unique name, you can bring in customers and have an extremely successful business. Mr. Adams, thank you so much for taking the time to watch this video and taking our recommendations into consideration when starting your new small business in Pittsburgh.
We can offer you all this information and more if you hire PricewaterhouseCoopers to make your dream a reality.